Humanitz. If you've ever played Project Zomboid, this is a game you're going to love. What this game is essentially Project Zomboid, but fully 3D and so much better. From the moment I started off the tutorial to this game, I was hooked and I just could not get enough of it. It is a zombie survival game that allows you to survive, explore, build, scavenge, hunt, craft, farm, fish, and a lot more. So with that being said, strap in and let's talk about it. From the moment that I booted up Humanitz and I started playing the game, I just could not get enough of it. The tutorial itself puts you in a position where you go around, you learn everything from point to point, and just everything that's involved in this game is just absolutely amazing. I am a massive fan of zombie survival games. I have played games like State of Decay, 7 Days to Die, Dying Light, Project Zomboid, DayZ, Days Gone. All of these games are games I absolutely love playing. But for me, the best sort of zombie survival game is the zombie survival game that allows you to go around, craft things and do what you need to do to survive. And this, in essence, is what Humanitz is. This game thrusts you into a top-down open world survival situation where you have the ability to scavenge inside buildings and find things, build things, craft things, repair vehicles and then fuel them up and drive them. Find a building you like and essentially board up the windows to make it safe. Essentially craft your own base of operations, including having things like rain collectors for water, hunting down animals in order to get meat that you can cook for food, and even farm. The game even allows you to fish. Though a little bit kind of finicky when it comes to the fishing side of things, this game has everything that you need for a zombie survival game, and it's still in early access, and that's saying something. And if that's not enough to hook you into the game, then I don't know what's wrong with you. Also, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button because it helps me out a lot. So the basic premise of the game is a zombie outbreak wiped out civilization. Hordes of what they call Zeeks essentially just go around attacking people and become the apex predator. And your goal is just to survive. This game is an isometric open world survival game where you have to do everything you can to survive and you have to fight zombies as well. Like I said, if you've played Project Zomboid and you liked it, this game is one you're going to love. It feels like what is essentially what should be the sequel to Project Zomboid. It's an open world 3D top down just amazing survival game. And like I said, it's still in early access. So on starting this game, you start off with a menu that allows you to customize your character. Once you've customized your character, you go into the game. You can either select to do tutorial or you can just say no, and it gives you a menu that gives you control over how the game works. This menu gives you access to essentially every setting in the game to essentially choose how you want to play the game. It includes things like how many days there are per season and what the starting season is, what a day duration actually is. You can select loot respawn times and rarity, how often there's airdrops, how difficult zombies are, how fast zombies respawn, humans and animals as well. It gives you control over everything, so you can tailor the game to exactly how you would like to play it. So it is essentially something that you can play no matter what your experience is of zombie survival games. Once you've selected those settings, you then select your starter spawn. These are different locations that essentially would just give you different starter things. So for example, the starter spawn area, which is great for beginners, it gives you everything you need to begin surviving. It gives you improvised backpacks to help carry more items, improvised hammer and axe to help with building and crafting, lots of lootable containers, 100% chance of having a drivable vehicle at your location, an improvised bow with arrows, and tarp items which helps you with building a rain collector so you can gather water. Once you spawn into the location, you will start off with pretty much nothing apart from your clothes on you. You do start off with your pockets, which apparently you have 5 pockets, so you can carry 5 items. You also can carry 4 holdables, including 2 large weapons and 2 small weapons. And at the spawn location, you will have things like hammers and food and even a backpack, which is an improvised backpack. This backpack has 5 slots, which allows you to carry 5 kilograms of weight in it. And in order to pick up backpacks, you just have to hold the action button to actually pick it up. Obviously, this is on PC, so it's the F key as standard. Once you collect all the things in the area, you can then decide to either make your base here, or you can head out and try to find somewhere else to make your base. So the way the controls work is there's WSD to move around, you have your mouse obviously for clicking for attacking and aiming and stuff, F is to pick things up, and in order for you to climb over or vault things, you just press the space bar for it, but you have to face those things to do it. So if you're facing away from a wall and you try to vault over it, you won't vault over it, you'll just jump on the spot. This is something key to keep in mind when you have a horde of zombies coming at you and you want to jump over a fence to escape them. Don't face the wrong way or you'll get yourself in a lot of trouble. From this moment, once you've gathered everything you can start looting and searching for things and scavenging. It's always a good idea to start off and build a base so you've got somewhere to store things that you can go back to if you need to. This is essentially reinforcing any nearby buildings so it's safe for you to go inside, and just make sure that you've got all your storage and stuff there. You can then begin to build a base. From then on, you go around and do whatever you want to in the game. So I'm going to cover a few things now. You obviously have survival, where you have your hunger and your thirst and your energy, as well as health. Temperature also affects your character as well, so you have to be careful when the weather changes. You have large weapons and small weapons. Large weapons like baseball bats or large rifles, for example, you cannot carry in your bag, and they have to be essentially on your back. Small weapons are small things like pipe wrenches, knives, or anything like that you can store essentially in your backpack if you need to, but generally you'll have them in your inventory ready to use when you need to. All weapons get damage to them, so you can repair them. Your melee fighting weapons can be repaired using duct tape, and you can use gun repair kits to repair any guns that you have. You have things like axes that allow you to chop down trees to gather wood, and you have a hammer which is used essentially for building things so you can build your base. You have the ability in this game to get fishing rods and go off to lakes and fish. This is good as a renewable source of food. You can also go out hunting to hunt down deer and other kinds of animals in order to get meat, and you can obviously build a rain collector to help you gather water. There is also a skill tree that allows you to level up and upgrade your skills, but it's a little bit much to get into, so I won't. The game does have an in-menu survival guide, which allows you to figure out some things if you're not sure at the start. It's all documented there and very easy to go through. Because of the weight limit on what you can carry, and depending on the backpack you've got, you have to obviously manage your inventory very carefully. This means generally having a car where you can put things into the back of your car if you need to, which is a good way to get around. This would make sense to get a bigger vehicle as soon as you can, obviously. But generally speaking, your car is your best friend at the start of the game for gathering things and taking them back to your base. You have the ability to craft a lot of different things in this game. You can build a crafting workbench, which allows you to then craft all sorts of different things that you might need to build stuff. You can build things like table saws, which allow you to pick up a log in your hand and then drop it into the saw in order to cut it up into pieces of wood. There is far too much to go over when it comes to crafting. So obviously you have base building, where you can build your base. This gives you the ability to not only build your base and build an area to live in essentially, but you can also build a lot of other things that are very useful when it comes to survival. You can make things like campfires, cooking stoves, chemistry stations, and all sorts of other things to help you with surviving in this game. When it comes to combat in the game, you use any weapons you've got. Obviously you can shoot them with guns, or you can use the melee weapons in order to attack them. You do have a execute button essentially that allows you to take down zombies that are close to you and take them out very quickly. Though this does use stamina, and stamina is something you do have to keep an eye on when it comes to doing actions in this game, because you get tired quite quickly. That being said, if you do knock down a zombie to the floor, or a Zeke as they call them in this game, you're able to press a button in order to head stomp them and kill them without them getting back up again. Then we go across to looting. When it comes to any buildings, on the floor, on tables, within units or cupboards or fridges and things like that, you can loot from pretty much anything in this game, including some broken down cars. This will require you a lot of the time in order to get into buildings and stuff to have a lockpick so you can pick the lock. It is a standard lockpick minigame like most other games do, and once you get into the building or into the vehicle, you can then start looting. There are different types of destroyed cars around, so when it comes to gathering resources, you're able to use something like a sledgehammer in order to keep hitting the car to destroy it and get sheet metal from it. Then there's things like fiber and sticks, which come from trees and bushes, and obviously rocks come from rocks. You can also find stones on the floor when you're walking around. Then there's farming. When it comes to farming, you can go into the build system and put down a farm plot. Around the world, you will find seeds on a regular basis. You can also eat food and get seeds from that. This allows you to then go up to the farm plot and plant seeds in order to grow things so that you have something that's more renewable rather than relying on looting things in buildings. As standard, when you try to water plants, it will use any dirty water that you have rather than clean water. But if there is no dirty water in your inventory, then you have to use clean water. But be careful with this, because obviously clean water is something that you need generally to survive yourself. When it rains in the game, it will also water your crops for you, so you don't have to worry so much. So it's always good when it does rain, but you have to make sure that the plot itself is not obstructed by a building or covered in any way, otherwise the rain won't get to it. You can also find fertilizer and use that in order to speed up the growth of your crops. There are a lot of different vehicles in the game as well that you're able to essentially find and repair. These require specific parts, which you'll find out in the tutorial of the game anyway, but you can repair these and then get fuel up the car, and then drive it off. This gives you the ability to essentially gather several different vehicles if you need to, just in case you run out of fuel for one, you'll have a backup one always there ready to go. But you can also find vehicles and siphon fuel. Gameplay for me was very smooth. It was a very good game. I enjoy the way that it plays. I enjoy the fact that it's very much like Project Zomboid in the way that you can go around and gather things, you can cover up windows and stuff, you can grab things from properties in order to do what you need to do, and pretty much everything is lootable, or you can get resources from it, which is ideal because it plays out in a way that you can gather a lot of things, and the map is quite large as well, so you can gather a lot of things from the different areas in order to build up the perfect base and reinforce it so that you have good defenses to survive when zombies are nearby. Like I say, if you like zombie survival games, this is definitely one you need to give a try. It's definitely worth the play. I'm loving the game at the moment. I'm loving it so much that I've actually got it open in the other window while I'm recording this audio, which is kind of distracting. So if I've messed up at any point, it's probably because of that, because I'm kind of wanting to carry on playing it now. But that's it for this video. So if you like it, then please drop a like. It definitely helps me out. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Hit that notification bell when that pops up as well, because that'll make sure you keep up to date with my videos and what's coming out next. And it goes without saying, obviously, get down in the comments below. Give me your opinion on what you think the game's like, whether you're going to get the game or whether you're already playing it, and if I've actually helped you out with the information I've given you on making a decision on whether you're going to get the game or not. And obviously, thank you for watching my video. I've been greenlycan, and I will see you in the next one.